Once upon a time, in a village near the ocean, there lived a carpenter whose name was John. He was old and poor and dwelled in a shack close to the woods. He spent his days repairing boats and nets on the shore, and his evenings were long and lonely in the squalor of his little house. He had no one to talk to. His friends were the seagulls monotonously repeating their unpleasant cry hour after hour. One day around the middle of summer, John the carpenter was walking all by himself on the beach when something which he saw in the distance caught his attention. Something unusual lying on the rocks, a strange object that was flickering and shining in the sun. "What could it be?" said John to himself, and started walking as fast as he could, fearing that the mysterious object would suddenly disappear. "What could it be?" he kept repeating to himself, walking faster and faster. It was a star, a real star with many tiny shining points, a real star that was beaming a pulsating light and illuminating the space all around him. Trembling, John picked up the star and noticed that one of the wings of the star was bent and a little cracked. The little star was wounded. "I'll take care of it," John told the star with a big smile, "and you will be able to fly again." All night long, the lonely man worked in his shack, fixing the star, and all the next day he forgot about his boats and his nets. It was a hard job, probably because no one had ever repaired the wing of a star before. But on the third day, the star was finally ready. "Ready to go," John thought and sighed. But suddenly an idea came to his mind. "Why should I let her go?" he asked himself. "I would have to be crazy. Oh, I would have to be crazy," he repeated as he held on to his marvelous star. "Finally, I have something of my own. Mine. I've given her back a new life, and I should let her go now. Oh, I would have to be crazy," he said for the third time, alternating between laughter and tears. He found a fine, strong thread and tied the wing of his star. Then, very carefully, he hung it near the door and sat up all night at the foot of his bed, contemplating her. Dawn came around, and with it the time for work. John took a large key that hung on the nail on the wall. He blew a kiss to his star from the tips of his fingers and closed the cabin door. He was excited all day as he worked on his boats, so eager was he to return home. For the first time something, he would say, someone was waiting for him. Living was joyful now, and joy gave the little lonely man new eyes. For the first time since he was born, he saw the world around him. There were not only the seagulls crying on the waves. There was the starfish and colored shells with strange music inside them. And there were the children playing on the sand, running and laughing as they ran in the sunlight. There was the sun, too, and the ocean was often very blue and shiny. In his shack at night, the star would shine for him and only for him. They had long dialogues, almost every night. "Star, my little star," John would ask, "tell me about the sky. You must know all about it. How far is the sky?" many, many miles away, multiplied by still ever so many, a number so great that there would not be enough room in it in this little house. The star would answer in her fascinating language, made up of lights that blended into the darkness. As for you, tell me, my little star, is this shack too small for you? The old man would ask in trepidation. But night after night, the star always gave the same answer. Do not worry, the lights would say to the shadows. I will keep you company. We are happy here. Many days went by, many, many days, and summer gave way to fall. And fall, in turn, got ready to let the blistering, howling winter take over. How ugly winter used to be with those long nights. But it was different now for the old man, who was the owner of a star. In the winter, she would start shining earlier, and John began to daydream, anticipating the happiness of those long wintry days when he and his star would keep each other company. John, who up to that moment had been getting old without living, began to look forward to Christmas with the anticipation of a child. He wouldn't have any friends or relatives over. He didn't have any. It will be just myself and my star, he would think to himself, and maybe a small Christmas tree. And the Christmas season came. No snow or no carols, but Christmas was in the air also in that isolated little village near the ocean. John started to get ready. He got a tree and bought the ornaments. As for the lights, he didn't need any, for he had his star. It was only 2 days before Christmas when the weather suddenly changed in the late afternoon. At night, it seemed that the fury of the wind would rise the ocean up to the sky. John went out of his cabin towards the beach to see what was going on. It was pitch black. There must be boats at sea. He couldn't help but think. He looked out at the very end of the beach. To his amazement, he did not see the white beam of the lighthouse searching the ocean. This is serious for the boats at sea in this kind of a storm, he thought to himself. He stood there for a second, and then he turned back to the beach and started walking towards the house. There is nothing I can do, he reassured himself. I'd better go home. Once inside, the door to his cabin locked, he started decorating the tree. When the tree was ready, he threw himself on the bed and tried to sleep as he had done each night for many years when there was a storm. The star went on shining as always, but sleep would not come. Now the world existed for the old carpenter, and it was the world of men. His worry for the boats at sea became anxiety. Once again he stood up, and before he knew it, he was outside again, pitch black. Is there nothing I can do? He painfully asked himself. Slowly, he returned to his cabin. The star, his star, was shining in the darkness. His hands were trembling when he took the string on which he hung from the wall. He opened the door again, and with the star in his hand, he walked on the beach until he reached the point where he had found her. There he stopped and held it in his hands for a while. Goodbye, he said softly. Goodbye, the star replied. And brighter than ever, with wings spread, she ascended towards the sky as a streak of light. slowly returned to his shack. His star would never be there again. His heart was heavy with anguish, and he began to cry. But his tears, strange to say, did not torment him this time. Stretched out on his bed, he could see the sky through the window, and he felt he was close, very close, to his star, which, thousands of times brighter than a beacon, were leading home the people at sea. He had never seen her so resplendent. Even the storm became discouraged, or so it seemed, blinded by the blazing light at sea. Gradually, the wind died down, and the ocean became calm. All night long, stretched out on his bed, the old man, who for so many years had lived without joy, was now, along with his star up there, illuminating the earth with his joy. "Today is Christmas Eve," he thought at dawn, when, exhausted, he began falling asleep. "My first real Christmas."